Hi, Peter again from Record. Following on from our recent few videos on the my BS350 here, some little maintenance tips and checking the machine over. I've come to know changing the bearings on the pulleys. I've already done the bottom one. I've replaced the bearings and refitted those, and give it a good clean off. Check the tyre. Tyre's still in good serviceable condition, so that's okay. This is a two-step machine, so you've got 840 meters per minute and about half the speed on the bottom speed. Give those a real good clean out in there. Get rid of all the bits of chippings and stuff like that, and just checked it over, and that's okay. So that's ready to refit it. So what I can do now is have a look to actually change the bearings on the top band wheel. And to this I need to remove the circlip that's in place, and then turn it round and tap those out. So first off, let's actually get that circlip out. Now this is something that might come out easily, or it may not. If I give this a little tap first, take it away from the circlip. I've got some spring ones. Straight ones, spring ones, anything that you can get to hand to take this out. If you haven't got any, maybe ask a friend if you're at a club or something like that, and then ease that one out. Put the other side. Now, one of the easiest way to do this, just obviously turn it over, but give yourself something equal to support it on, and bring that into the centre. And I've made a little drift just to tap these out. So just gently tap those out, and there's a spacer in the middle of it as well, between the two bearings. Keep an eye on that, you need that. Chip the one out of the way, and then the other one. So all we need to do now is discard those, and before I put the other bearings in, what I'll do is just give this a little bit of a clean in here. Dry it as well, and a little bit of oil, just a little bit of lubricants for the bearings to go back in. You can wipe this around with your fingers or put on a bit of cloth. Don't need a lot. And that'll just help the bearings go back in nicely. You've got a little spacer in between, so it's important you put the first bearing in, then add your spacer. Again, just give that a little clean out. It's surprising the dust and dirt is still going to get through onto something like that. Then the bearings. So these are shielded bearings, and by that it's the actual balls themselves that are inside of here are covered, so that the prongs, the life of the bearing itself, because it's working in quite a dirty environment. So these are sealed bearings. They've been greased for life. So first of all, try and level it off as best as you can. Then with a little drift, ease her in. That's up to the rear circlip. Put that in. Roughly trying to line it with the other bore of the back bearing. So these bearings are sealed, so there's nothing to do to these apart from take them out of the packaging and putting them in. Again, try and line that one up square on the top, and nice and gently just start her off. And that's down onto there, lining that up in there. I'm just poking my finger through there just to line the spacer up, and then ready to put the circlip back on. Try and put the back in first. That part. And sometimes you might just need to give it a little tap. That's fully clicked in there now. So that's, both of those are now ready to go. So the next procedure is refitting those, which will shortly follow, and then I'll get my machine close to being back to ready to go again. So now is the time I'm going to remount my band wheels. First of all, I've given this a real good clean out in here, and I've checked everything's okay. So really hoovered and cleaned around in here, and I've sprayed a little bit of WD-40 just to give it a help to clean it out. And before I finished, I put the doors back on. I just given the worm and pinion and that area a spray with some dry silicone spray. I would say do that last, because I put this on quite liberally around these areas. So when I do that, I shut the door, then leave the dust in the spray in there just to settle, and I'll leave it alone. I'll go on and do something else. And the same with the bottom one, but we'll come to that in a second. So for the top one, all I would do now is I'm going to put these pulleys back on. I'll just put a bit of oil onto a cloth and just put it onto the shaft. And just help me to mount the shaft back on. And I'll need the tool arm out of the way. So if I wind that down, it says this guard unit is out of the way of the band wheel. And the actual band wheel itself, we'll just put those new bearings in. Just put that onto the shaft. And that should just pull in. And then the cap screw and the washer, and you've got a spring washer in between. So that just does a lock up on there. Just pinch those up. And just give that a nice tighten down. And that's as much as it needs. So that's all set up and ready to go now. And say on the worm and pinion, I did the same on there. I've given that a real good clean out and get all the dust and bits of debris out of there. I'll give that the same sort of treatment as I did with the other one. So move that out of the way. So coming on to the bottom one, a little bit more here. Here again, exactly the same process. It's all been nicely cleaned out. And what I've paid extra attention to is my actual belt tensioner. I've given that a good hoover in there, and also I've put a bit of WD-40, wind it up and down a little bit just to clear the screw out. And then again, same process. I've shut the door after I've given it a nice spray with some silicone spray in there. You don't want anything oil based in there. And I think I told you before, just check that pulley, the grub screw in there. It's got a little 6mm grub screw. You need a 3mm Allen key, and just check that's locked up. And again, a little bit of lubricant onto there just helps it slide on. And what we want to do now is also put our dry belt on. So we can just put that on there, just sit it in the top one, and then it's just a process of lining the first one up, lifting that spacer up, just be careful with your fingers, take the tension right off. high speed, not the low speed. Just check they're parallel together. A little bit of tension at first, and then we can put in the cap screw again, our spring washer and the main washer, and just lock that up. Again, that's as much as it needs, because you've got the spring washer on there and you have a washer. So what you've got to pay attention to now, that's all rotating okay, and you want a bit of flex in this drive belt. So we want it to spin nice and freely and have a little bit of flex in there. So movement maybe between 10-12 millimeters, something like that. Just so it doesn't need to be taut. It needs still to be able to go, because it's going around three radiuses here. So you still want it to have a little bit of movement in there. And that is your pulleys, your bearings done, all cleaned out, all fit and ready to go again for your next project. Which in this particular case I shall follow on from now. And what I'll do before I put the table on, I'm going to introduce the bandsaw blade, and I'll show you how to set that up. A lot of people will know, but we might have some people watching for the first time, and they might be new to the bandsaws, and I'll introduce you how to track the bandsaw blade and then do the guides and set that up, and I'll follow on with that shortly. Catch you soon. Cheers. Bye.